In today's video, I am going to be sharing with you how I started my fashion label. How I went from making my entire collection myself in a tiny little room with no heating, shall I add, on the top floor of a building with just a dream, just a passion, to winning Designer of the Year multiple times, showcasing in New York and bringing my fashion collection to the Far East, which is actually happening at the end of this year. So I'm super excited. Big welcome to my channel. My name is Caroline Matthews and I am a fashion and bridal designer and also the founder of the Luxe Collective. This channel is all about helping designers build an epic, stylish, personal brand and business that they dream of and they long for, just like I did. I want to give you the lowdown on what it takes to build your creative empire and share with you the lessons that I have learned. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that I did and you have an amazing business. The inspiration for this video is to show you that anything is possible. A dream is only a dream until you put it into action, and then it becomes possibilities. It becomes ambitions, it becomes goals, and this is what following your dreams look like. I hope you like this video, love this video, and if you do, then I would really appreciate it if you could give it a massive thumbs up. Comment below, let me know what you think and if you've enjoyed it. And if you're new here, then welcome to my channel. I'd be super grateful if you would subscribe and join the tribe so you don't miss an episode. So the first thing that I really wanted to talk about was really to start small. And you all might kind of be sat here thinking, oh God, start small, I don't want to start small. But you really need to understand you. You need to understand, what you want to design, like what your style is, what your personality is. Because when I first started my collection and I designed my first collection, I had no idea of how it would evolve, what it would morph into, but I was falling in love with fashion in my own way. Ever since I was 4, I wanted to be a designer. I had dreams of having flagship stores all over the world. I had, I wanted to have this big global brand. I wanted to be it wasn't that I wanted to be famous, but I wanted to be famous within my industry. But, we have to start somewhere. We have to start small. So I did that. I had this tiny little studio that used to cost me serious money. I had a local carpenter make me a pattern cutting table, which pretty much took up the entire space of my studio. And I had an industrial sewing machine and a dream. That was all I had. And I started very small. I had designs all over the walls. And I just picked 6 that I really felt reflected who I was as a designer. And I made the patterns for them myself. I produced them myself. And I just went about showing them to friends, wearing them myself. And, you hear these people say, designers say, oh, I did this, friends started to wear my pieces. But it is so true. You start small, and if you do put it out and, your friends wear it and, local people wear it, then you start to get a feel about your vibe and your style and if it's something that you really, really, really want to do. So the key really is to start small. And one of the other things that came up for a big thing for me was to decide if you want to be a commercial creative or an artistic creative. Now, obviously, a commercial creative is pretty much where most of us want to go. We want to make money doing what it is that we love, aka selling clothes or accessories, skincare, whatever it is. I knew I wanted to be a global brand and I wanted to have handbags, I wanted to have a shoe range, I wanted to have a perfume range. And so for me, being a commercial artistic designer was obviously the path, and that's pretty much where, we all should be following. So decide on that, because sometimes like designers really just want to do really elaborate pieces and couture pieces, and they don't want to make it too commercial. But most of us do want a commercial business. So really kind of decide on that, and it's cool and it's actually okay if you do just want to be an artistic, commercial creative. You know, you don't have to sell your products all over the world. Just really get clear and understand what it is that you want to do. The other thing that I really wanted to talk about was to really take time to find the right people to work with. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story here. When I was searching for factories, I was searching for fabric manufacturers. I've been to India, I've been to Shanghai, I've been to China, I've been to London, I've been to Ireland. I have been all over, and it's taken me a really long time to get really comfortable with the people who I work with now, because obviously, you know, to find my little G spot in this world of fashion, I wanted to be really working with people who got me, who got my passion, who believed in the products that I was building. And I didn't want to work with people who didn't have that vibe. And, you know, I'm sure if you're a designer, you've come across this. It's massive overwhelm, because when you go and find factories, a lot of them, unfortunately, want you to buy large quantities. They have serious minimums, and cash flow is also a big issue, because you have to pay for a lot of things up front. So it really is a difficult process, but take the time and do not rush with this. You know, I have worked with, so far, I have probably had about 4 or 5 different factories. The first few I worked with for a few years, and the vibe was good and I really enjoyed it, but it just didn't work out. And it's taken me now like 6 years, and I have finally got 2 amazing factories that I work with. They are family-owned factories. We have full transparency. I go over there. We have amazing Skype calls, and they really get my vision. But it didn't happen overnight. So really do take the time to find the right people to work with, and don't worry if, you know, you're 2 years into it and maybe you're still making the collection yourself, or maybe you haven't found the right pattern cutter. It all takes time, but trust me when I say, when you actually do find those amazing people to work with, everything will fall into place. You know, you will get those amazing payment terms. You'll find that your factory that you don't have to have minimum quantities with, and you will grow. You will grow as a brand, and you will grow those relationships with your production and your pattern cutters and all of that amazing stuff. So do take the time to find the right people. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about was really the beginning of my business. You know, I started the fashion label at a time when it was basically a now or never. I had very much suppressed my fashion dream, and I started, as you all know, as a bridal designer. And what a lot of people don't know is that really I started off as a bridal designer because everybody had told me that going into the fashion industry, it was going to be too hard. I was not going to make any money. I needed an investor. I needed a lot of capital. And I had my head stuck in Vogue magazines, Cosmo, all of Porter magazine. Like, I had all my head stuck in these magazines all of the time. It was my dream. It was my passion. It was what I wanted to do since I was 4. But I was just told by everyone that it was just too expensive and I wasn't going to be a success at it and to get a normal job. But I didn't. I designed the range, as I said, and I made it myself with absolutely no clue if it would sell. And really, it mainly came from because I believed in what I did, and I believed in who I wanted to become as a designer and as a woman. And I didn't know completely the end game, but I just went with it. So it's really important to understand your story and to never ever feel that, you know, you can't diversify your path. You know, being a successful bridal designer has really opened up doors for me with my fashion label as well. And I love seeing amazing women wearing our bridal. I love our brides with good vibes. They're amazing. But my dream was to be a fashion designer. And I remember in the first year of business, Liberties of London were doing a Best of British. And it was basically a call out to any new designers, UK based, and you could go down there, pitch your idea, pitch your collection to them. And if they loved it, then of course they would take the collection on. And I remember going down there and I was excited, I was nervous, my hands were sweating. And I thought, right, I'm going to get there early, because what you had to do was you had to queue outside Liberties of London. It wasn't glamorous. When I got there, I swear to God, the queue of people around Liberties of London, if you haven't been to Liberties, Liberties is massive. It's massive. And there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of designers queuing all the way around Liberties, all the way around, everyone with their portfolio in their hand, their collection in their other hand, like me, with a dream of thinking, is this it? Is this going to be it? And I did so many of these things. You know, I picked myself up, collection under one arm, portfolio under another, and I went and I just tried and I experienced things, and I learned so much from doing this. And when I went to Liberties and I was in the middle of the interview, I was pitching my collection, I actually at that point realised that maybe Liberties wasn't for me. And because I'd gotten so caught up in the hype that I was like, yes, I want to be in Liberties. But when I got in there and I was looking around, it just wasn't for me. But it was the experience of it. It was the experience of pitching my label to buyers of a massive store. It was the experience of talking to other designers and seeing their collections and seeing what their dreams and passions were. So don't ever let a small thing of money or not having a production in place or not knowing, you know, where you're going to go. Don't ever let that stop you from going out there and trying anything and everything that you possibly can. The other thing I wanted to talk about was to actually be okay with having huge successes and huge failures. I have had a copious amount of failures. I have had factories that have gone into liquidation. I've had factories that have burnt down. I've had, factories copy my designs. I have had all sorts of stuff gone. And, you know, I've worked with boutiques, and then in the start, because my label grew very quickly, I couldn't keep up with the demand, and if I am honest, I lost a lot of boutiques because I couldn't produce the collections quick enough, and it made me feel very much like a failure. But the only reason why I have continued is because I went with my instincts. You know, I always knew who I was and what I wanted and how I wanted my whole business to look. And this is what is key. This is what is so important. Don't ever give up on that dream. Don't ever give up on being that designer that you want to be. Everything is going to come with successes. You know, I've had successes where I have won Designer of the Year consecutively 4 and 5 years in a row. I was picked with a bunch of other designers to go and show over in New York. I have showcased myself, as you can see in the previous video, in New York. I've had amazing successes, but I've also had huge failures too. But, you know, the more authentic you are and true to your own brand, the longer you will last in this industry. You know, don't be like everyone else. Be like you. That is the only person you have to be like. And I see this with lots of different brands and designers. You know, they try to be like somebody else. They don't just take inspiration from other designers. It's like, oh, I have to be like that person because that person is a success. That is a successful designer. It's not about who they are. It's about who you are. And this is the main thing that I've always stood true to my own values. No matter what anybody has told me, no matter how many people have said, you know, you could fail, this is not going to work. I have gone on my own instincts. And I have been authentic in who I am. And that is absolutely key to success and key to building that fashion empire. Because when you have those basics in place, you know, you have your production, you have an amazing team, you have support, and you have your vision and your gut instinct, you can't fail. You really can't fail. Maybe you might not have the flagship stores all over the world, but maybe, just maybe, you might have a thriving online business. You might have a loyal clientele who buy from you every single season because they love who you are as a designer. They love who you are as a woman. This is what it's about, and this is what I wanted to share with you today. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video. This video really is to just remind you that your dream counts. Trust your energy, trust your gut, run with your instincts, and stay absolutely 100% true to who you are. It never happens overnight, but one day you will wake up and realize just how far you have come. You know, I went from working in the studio with no heating and pretty much speaking to no one all day and sitting in front of a sewing machine to working with two amazing family-run factories, a fashion line that is going into the Far East at the end of this year, and a loyal clientele basis who are consistently emailing me every week asking when is the new collection going to come and when can they wear it, because they want to promote it on Instagram and they want to wear it on Facebook. They want to, because they so love my brand. You know, a few years ago, I would never have dreamed that. And now, you know, I've worked with luxury stores around the world, fashion line going into different countries. I'm now teaching and mentoring fashion designers on how to build their business as well. Like, it's amazing. It's a really, really amazing journey. But staying true to who you are as a designer and as a woman is absolutely key. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Big love and good vibes.